Guys, gals, and guests, welcome to LGBTQ plus Singles Live. I'm your host, Starr. How y'all doing this evening? Hey. Hey, the friends are in the building. Just checking to make sure that I just set up our moderator. Hey, Knox. I hope everybody's doing good tonight, honey. If you've been following a bitch journey, then you know, honey, I came down with a little cold or flu or something here lately. No, bitch, it wasn't no motherfucking COVID-19. It wasn't no COVID 20, 21, or 22. And y'all better not be trying to wish no monkeypox on the bitch. It was just a little flu. The child brought something home from school, honey. Y'all need to start putting socks and shit on your children. Out here catching colds and shit and bringing them to me. So I'm still on my tea. Hey, Lyric. Hey, Anastasia. Hey, everybody in there. We gonna get to the carryings on in a minute. But, honey, still on my motherfucking tea. So that's what I'm consuming. As you can probably tell, I sound a little better than I did last week. It was definitely giving, it was going a little raspy. It was definitely giving, invoking a Toni Braxton. It was invoking a Toni. It was invoking an Aretha. You know, I'm always invoking a Maya Angelou, bitch. So, yeah, our Maya voice was a little heavy on the baritone last week. Honey, Marsha, ain't nobody play with your ass. I ain't fooling with y'all. Y'all know typically I start the show by giving everybody a little rundown, giving y'all a little rundown on my dating life. I think we're going to take a break from me giving a rundown on my dating life. And long story short, shit is getting real. Shit is getting close to home. Shit is getting real and shit is getting close to home, honey. My Lord. So, honey, when I start updating y'all, again, telling what's going to be happening. But I still update y'all on what's going on with me. You can dig in my business, I'm a content creator. My business is yours. Child. Y'all know that I don't have a day job. This is all I'm doing. Talking to y'all online, acting a goddamn fool, telling other people business, exposing the chasers. Honey. I got some job offers. I was live earlier today on TikTok and I was telling some of y'all who are in here, I've gotten some job offers. Some plantations have hit me up and told me that I can come and work for them. Some crackers that let me know that I can come work for their companies and stuff like that. I am not ready to hop back on Master's plantation just this moment. But we're going to see what's up. Pray for me. Pray for me in the Lord's name. Hallelujah. I am giving myself a window to start making a certain amount of money via social media. I'm not that dumb. So I'm giving myself a window. I'm giving myself an allotted amount of time to make a designated amount of money. And if that happens within the time frame, then I won't be hopping back on anybody else's plantation. If my expectations don't go as well, if they're not giving the bitch a coin, if I'm out here broke, bitch, and panhandling, then girl, we just gonna have to hop back up on somebody motherfucking plantation for now. That's all. That's the fuck all, honey. I'm an American, so I'm used to working on the motherfucking plantation. You know that's how they raise us over here. But we'll see, bitch. We'll see, honey, because from what I understand, Big Girl be offering the girls contracts when they have a certain amount of followers. I heard Big Girl be offering the girls contracts when they have a certain amount of followers. Well, I know for a fact. And I got over 100K on TikTok, but bitch, I ain't even got 10K here. It's a whole different ball game over here on this motherfucking Instagram. Big Girl don't really care about my 100K on TikTok, I guess. Because, honey, ain't nobody called me back. Because ain't nobody called me back to negotiate this contract yet. But we'll see. We will see. We got some guests lined up for y'all today, so y'all not going to be listening to me rant and rave all night. We got a couple guests lined up. And I think that y'all will enjoy them. If not, then girls, still support. Share it alive. Honey, don't do that to a bitch. Because when I blow up, I don't want to hear, oh, I was there from the beginning. Unless you really hear from the beginning. Share it alive. Share it alive. What is y'all talking about in the chat? Oh, Lord. The chat is a whole different show. Child. Y'all better start watching. They in here talking about cutting grass or weed whacking or something. Pray for him. My Lord. Yeah, they say Bigo is ratchet, and I've done a little research. I've done a little research, and baby, it's like the Wild Wild West over there, honey. It's giving projects in Section 8 over there, no shade. It's giving lawless. It's giving children who raise themselves have become the content creators over there. Lord, forgive me. My Lord, what is they doing? Jesus. My God. Hey, Lily. It is. But I tell you one thing for sure and two things for certain. If the motherfuckers is going to pay me, especially more than the motherfucking plantation, I will go over there and I will read everybody's children who only got A's in art. Baby, y'all know it'll be some motherfucking classic content. Bitch. You know I read the eyebrows off a bitch. And if you didn't know, watch a video. Honey, what is you here to look at me because you think I'm pretty? Girl, if you looking at me, if you here just to look at me because you think I'm pretty, then bitch, you wasting your damn time. Because I'm actually smarter than I am pretty. Motherfucker. Girl, it keeps saying pause. I don't know if my roommate didn't pay the motherfucking Wi-Fi or what. Girl, but it keeps saying that I'm pausing. Keep pausing my damn video. Did my TikTok moderators come over here? TikTok, is you over here in the chat, bitch? God damn it. Girl, tell the crackers from TikTok to go on back. Leave me alone. God damn it. Over here freezing my goddamn live. I gave y'all girls a couple hours earlier over there at TikTok. Damn, share a bitch. God damn it. They eyebrows be drawn on, mine just be thickened in. just be thickened. Just be thickened. They was watching me do my eyebrows earlier on the motherfucking live. They was watching me do my eyebrows, watching me shave them. And they was talking about, girl, I should have kept shaving them. I said, girl, mind your damn business. I'm going to fill them in, girls. Saying, they thick. It's giving alien. A alien eyebrow, bitch. A wildebeest. Wildebeest. Still puss. Bitch. Still puss. Still puss in boots. What's going on, love? So good. Thank you, honey. Thank you, Liv. Thank you, Liv. All right, I'm getting ready to start bringing the gas in. Because, honey, y'all know I will motherfucking drag it. Bitch, you know I drag it. Honey, let's bring in the first guest.
Who is it? Who is it? Who is it? It's me.
Hey,
What's up,
friend.
everybody?
Hey, friend, give the people your name and your pronouns.
It's me, JJ, also known as your gay best friend times 10, and I am he, him, and sometimes her too.
Now, tell the people,
Depends on the day, darling.
tell the folks where you at, JJ.
I am in the Bronx, New York City, and I don't know what y'all talking. Don't listen to Rodriguez. He a little he a little out there. He wants this. I'm not a hoe. I used to be a hoe, but
This,
I'm no longer a hoe.
this ain't his show, friend. I will edit his comments right the fuck out.
Okay,
He
edit them, because he's trying to knock on my wood, and I don't like that.
I don't think the wood is what he trying to knock on, but we're gonna keep it moving. How how
So, all right,
how old?
me, I'm 30. I'm 34 years old, but I look 24.
What is what is your BZ or your zodiac sign?
I'm an Aquarius. I was born on January 25th, so I'm a January Aquarius. We're much more special than the February ones. They're amazing. But yeah, I'm a little crazy too. Gotta be
That
honest, yeah.
that's fine. We got JJ here. You say you from the BX, right, JJ?
Period. I'm New York all day, every day. Born in Brooklyn, raised in Long Island, landed in the BX. So I'm like a mix of those three.
Well, Charlemagne already warned us that the craziest people is in all of Florida and the Bronx. So we ready. We ready. We here for it.
Mhm.
And if they follow me, then bitch, I'm crazy as hell. So they already know what time it is.
Okay.
So what is your sexual orientation, JJ?
I am gay as fuck. Can't you tell?
These days, these days you can never tell, honey. I know men sweeter
Gay,
than you.
gay, 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 gay. Gay, 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 gay.
And what do you do for a living, JJ?
Well, right now I'm in the security field. I've been in the security field for the past 9 years. I don't want anybody to get discouraged by my job because I make sure I get paid, honey.
Okay. I ain't mad. I never got the impression that you were broke. Why would you say that you are single, JJ?
I'm single by choice right now, honestly.
What
I could have been in a relationship. I could have been in many relationships. It's just that on this self-love journey, I've just chosen not to get in a relationship for the sake of being in a relationship.
I respect that. How long have you been single?
I've been single, like in terms of like not dealing with anyone for the past 2 years consecutively. I would say 2.5, 3 years.
Okay. Okay. And at this point in your self-love journey, do you think that you're ready for love? Would you say that you're ready for love?
I'm almost ready. I'm very honest. I suffer from a lot of childhood trauma. So I
Mm,
think anybody that has suffered from a lot of childhood trauma You know, I'm at the age where, you know, I've been in therapy consistently for the past 3 years. So I've been working on myself. I've been healing myself. Okay. And also on this self-love journey, that's also a part of it. So the more and more I love myself, the less I'm tolerant of, and the more, let's say, open I am to date different types of people.
What what has been your how long has been your longest relationship thus far?
My longest relationship was with an ex-boyfriend who lives around the corner right now. That was 2 years. My first ever relationship, though, that lasted for about 2 years. His name was Travis. He was on the down low. You know, I think a lot of us in our first relationships, when we're like baby gays, um, we get into relationships and we tend to go with the flow in terms of like, you know, because when I was a baby gay, I didn't really know much about being gay. I didn't know much about the world. I didn't know much about the community. And then, of course, you meet someone that's older and they're so-called teaching you how it's supposed to go. And when you get to my age, then you realize that's actually not how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't consider that a relationship, but yeah, I would say about two and a half, no, about 5 years ago, I was with Greg. Yeah,
Is that the one now? Which one lives near you?
Greg.
Okay. So how is it living? How does that work? Living that
Well,
close to your
I actually seen him not long ago, which was maybe like 3 or 4 days ago. Um, I always run into him, whether if I'm running to the supermarket, I run into him. And it's so funny. That didn't work out. Our relationship didn't work out because at the time I was very immature. And I'll tell you guys the story, and I'm sure we all can relate to it. Uh, I was supposed to go spend the night at his house for the first time, and he told me that he couldn't come over because he had to do something with his son. His son was a little bit younger than I was. Now, when I'm not a, I believe that's his biological son. I believe that's his biological son. I'm not 100% sure if it was his biological son, but I believed it because that's what I was told. And Greg was much older than I was. But so when he told me that, this was back in the day. So this was maybe more than 5 years ago, Lord Jesus. Uh, this is when we were on Adam for Adam, and I saw that he was still online, and I thought that he was avoiding me because, of course, that's happened to me before. I thought that he was avoiding me and making the excuse of his son um, as to why I couldn't come over, and I thought that he was dipping and doing it with somebody else, and I responded and I reacted to it. And when I reacted the way I reacted, he told me that he was disappointed in me and that he knows that I know that he loved me very much and that he didn't want to be with me anymore after the way I responded.
love. It sounds like from a psychologist standpoint, somebody who studies human behavior. It sounds like you were right on point. It sounds like you clocked it, called it out, and you honestly gave him a way out. You gave him a out. You gave him a window by confronting him. And kudos to you. Kudos
Yeah.
to
One
you.
thing about me, if anybody gets into a relationship with me, I'm very headstrong. I can definitely defend myself.
You better. What do
I've
you
been doing that my whole life.
Speaking of defending yourself, what do you consider strengths of yours?
My strength is my mouth and my resilience. I'm intellectual and I'm very smart. I don't even like to use the word smart. I'm intelligent. A lot of life experiences from I was in foster care from 2 weeks old until I was 21 years old. And then from 21 years old to 31, I survived by like pretty much like house hopping, like being on friends' houses, couches, or renting rooms. because the bitch always had a job. So she was never homeless because she always had a job. You know, of course, there were times where I had to like stay with friends when I didn't have work and, you know, things like that. But yeah. So from 21 to 31, I learned a lot it was through trial and error. So a lot of things that I learned in my life was very much self-taught because
Mm.
of the trial and error. And from 31 to 34, I'm healing.
So you haven't made mistakes. You've made errors. You
Yeah,
made errors because they are things that you've learned to correct going forward, right?
absolutely.
I dig it.
I will say I've tripped over the same rock more than once on different subjects plenty of times, but at this point, I'm not tripping over the same rocks anymore.
What are your weaknesses, friend? What would you consider a weakness for you?
My weakness is that I'm too friendly. I'm too trusting. And these could be not seen as weaknesses, right? It depends on how you look at them. Being too trusting is I say it's a weakness because I always tend to trust the wrong people. I like to think of myself as being a light. I'm very approachable. I like to think that I'm very attractive. I grew up very ugly. So now in this time in my life, I know I'm the bomb diggity.com.
You've never,
Um,
friend, I'm sure.
so I think my trusting and my friendliness is what gets me into trouble. And then, well, especially back then, the lack of boundaries. So I think those were weaknesses in my life. And now that I'm much more grown and I've been in therapy and I'm healing and I've learned boundaries and I've learned limits and things like that. Um, yeah, my strength is my resilience and and my tendency to continue to be the bigger person in situations when
Mm.
I'm warranted to drag a
Those,
bitch.
those things could be seen as weaknesses as well. But as a friend, I'm going to tell you, I do think you're a light as well. And I believe that I possess some of that myself, but being the light, we can and will attract the darkness.
Oh yeah, bugs come to the light,
But
roaches love the light,
but when
mosquitoes.
when you get those warning signs, like the example you gave me with your ex, and even questioning whether that was his biological child, I think all of that could have, depending on your spiritual beliefs, I think all of that could have been signs that that person is not for you. And in the future, the only advice I would give is that when you see those signs, friend, they're not good enough for you.
You
That's
know, the best part about that is that I've been literally putting that into practice with fucked up friends. Okay. I used to be a loyal bitch to people that would drag me and do the things to me, and I would always go back because I've known them from a long time. And, you know, coming from foster care, relationships is something that I hold very true to me. And it wasn't until I met two of my best friends, and we've been consistently best friends for the past 4 years. Now I know what real friendship is supposed to be. Now I know what real friendships is. So I'm least likely that comes with self-love. That comes with, you know, healing. It comes with learning. But I've X'd all of those relationships out who have done me dirty. I don't I don't give any more chances. We're adults
don't
now. If I'm
don't
effectively communicating, then then it needs to come from you as well. Apologies come with change behavior. So since this is a dating show and I'm bearing my all here, I want to come up with a story on how I got into my healing. On my 32nd birthday, or my 32nd birthday,
mhm.
um, so this was 2 years ago, right before the pandemic hit. I had went out with friends and we had a birthday dinner and it was beautiful. All of my people were there. And I wound up going to a bar and going out somewhere with someone else. Long story short, I blacked out and I did some things that weren't good. Um, and the next day I got home and I didn't remember what happened. I just remembered storming off. I remember bits and pieces of me getting home. And I called my friend and she told me what happened. And I'll never forget it. This was the day Kobe Bryant died.
Mm,
And I was so fucked up based on what happened, what I did to my friend, and I couldn't even technically give any attention to that.
mhm.
She had told me what happened and what I had done, and I was mortified. mortified. And I apologized. And from that moment on, I knew that I had some work to do. I had to start working on those demons that I had inside of me. So I quit drinking. Okay, because apologies come with changed behavior. And at some point, if you want to heal and you want to be a better person, you have to take things very seriously. So I quit drinking. I enrolled myself into therapy. There was a point where I had to get on meds, and I didn't want to, but I did. And fast forward, I drink responsibly now.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I've told my trials and tribulations, so I get it, friend. Describe your ideal partner for us. What does this guy look like?
I'm so happy you asked this question because now that I've been healing and now that I've been finding myself, I finally know the answer. I need someone who is nurturing. I need someone who is patient. I need someone who is kind. I need someone who is loving. I need a partner, not a leader.
Mm.
Um, Now,
It's
if you want to talk about like physical attributes and things like that,
share with us too.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind me a strong man. I wouldn't mind me a chunky man. I wouldn't mind me a feminine guy. I wouldn't mind me a slim guy. I wouldn't mind a short guy because it's all about the personality and the person within for me, honey. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie. Like teeth is a kind of like a deal breaker for me.
Give
So
us all.
I like a nice mouth. I love a nice mouth. Like, you have to be clean, hygiene friendly. We all like a little must, but that's usually while we're in action, not from you coming from the gym. You must shower before you get in your bed. You must wash your legs. And this may not rub everybody the right way. Um, I wouldn't mind dating a white guy. It's just my feelings when dating white men. I always have this feeling of feeling less than my partner, less than the other because of my skin complexion.
Mm. And if I'm not mistaken, you are biracial, friend, right?
My daddy's a white man. Yep. My mom is black. My dad is white. I don't really know much about him. I only know what people tell me of him. But yeah, I'm half black, half white.
So do you think you have an inferiority complex when it comes to race?
I just know that in my experience in my childhood as well as my adult life, um, I don't know if it's just like I'm more exposed to it in terms of like seeing it every day and seeing the racism and seeing how other people are treated because I'm also very much empathic. I cry over other people's pain sometimes before I would cry over my own. Um, so with that being said, there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect.
Okay. I respect that. We don't even have to go any further. Um,
Hmm.
would you consider yourself more dominant or submissive in
Oh,
relationships?
I'm definitely dominant. Like this, like from the way I just explained, the way my life has gone, I'm dominant. I can be submissive. I enjoy being submissive because I'm a natural people pleaser, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And um, I like to be liked. I like to be enjoyed. I also like to be seen. Um, and so yeah. What was the question again?
You're not. I think that you told us that you're naturally
Yes, I'm
dominant.
dominant. Yeah. I will I can throw you on the bed and, sit on your face. I don't need you to bed me up to do that.
And speaking of that, face sitting, is physical intimacy important to you?
Absolutely. I think physical intimacy, especially for me, and it's I don't know if it's because I have issues, but like when I was a kid, I enjoyed giving hugs. I enjoyed showing love, hugging, and I think that is natural because I didn't have it growing up, like in terms of like the motherly love and that, I was raised by the system.
Hmm.
So, yes, nurturing, hugs, cuddling, um, caressing, whatever it is. If I'm very handsy, and that's one of my love languages. So yeah, I appreciate it back. Just little things.
I've
It's part of nurturing.
yeah, I've worked with people, and I had people close to me who, as you said, were raised by the system or grew up in the system, right?
Hmm.
Um, I know that abandonment and clinginess can be something that they struggle with when it comes to relationships. Are those issues for you?
Well, I know that I have the tendency to push people away. I'm not going to sit here and lie. Because I'm an out of sight, out of mind type of guy. Like if you're not around, out of sight, out of mind. You know, the older I get, the more I live on seeking connections and not validation. So I'd much rather have connection with a person than to be validated by someone. But I definitely um I have issues with abandonment. Absolutely.
What do you
Um
what typically would cause you to push someone away?
um Inability to talk through an issue, right? Sometimes things get really uncomfortable, and some people will literally, because I could go all day, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And when there's an issue and I'm asking questions and I'm like trying to figure out what is it that I can do, or what is something that we can do differently to make it better. And I hear, you know what, just forget about it. I'm gonna forget about that shit. I will walk right out.
You
Or
didn't mention that in your ideal partner, but it sounds like
or if you don't acknowledge me, like my
communication.
sorry.
So communication, you're big on communication.
Now that I'm an adult, of course, when I was younger, that was an issue, and that's why a lot of things didn't work out because I wasn't able to communicate. Because I'm always the pleaser, so how dare I say something that's not nice or not going to match up with someone else? I was such a pleaser that I would walk on eggshells just to please a man, just to be with that man.
No, can never compromise yourself. You're too incredible for that, JJ. Don't do that. What is your oh, my little spicy question. When were you last physically intimate with someone?
The last time was June the 3rd or June the 4th.
So that's been about what, 2, 3 months? Something like
Yeah,
that.
I'm not as active as I was when I was younger.
Why
Ching.
why not the
Well, child, you got the monkeypox out here now. Everybody's on a Tina girl. So clearly those are things that I don't like. Everybody's on a Tina, everybody's on the monkeypox, there's no I know my shit is good. Like I said earlier, like I know it's good. So I just want more than that. I want more than what I was giving. I need to receive more, and the older I get, like now I have a little friend in my bottom drawer. And in my self-love journey, I realized how much I was missing out on during sex.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What is your
I have been, because I've been sexually active since I was 19. I started at 19. And I've always knew I was a bottom. I just like the art of legs in the air. I enjoy my legs in the air. I have nice legs. I have really nice legs to put, in the air. So, so with that being said, I'm trying not to get off track because I could.
the question
Um,
the question was why why not the person who you were with in June or July?
oh, why we're not like to
Yeah, why
together?
didn't that work?
I was in a really bad state of depression, and I literally went and had sex with him just so. I could get my mind off of whatever I was going through. Like it was
A,
really bad. Um,
a distraction. You needed an endorphin.
I needed a distraction, and I don't usually do it. And that's why I was saying, like, that's where I was going off on too, like, in terms
Love.
of why I'm not sexually active anymore the way I used to be, is because I was missing out. They just want to
Now
jam it in there. There's no, there's no, you understand what I'm saying? Like, you got to ease it in. It's a muscle. Like, you can't just be jamming it. I'm not loosey goosey. Like, like, you do it with me today, and then tomorrow I'm tighter than I was the day before. So,
I get it. I get it, friend. But I want you to never use um I want you to never make excuses for how you cope with your mental health, and I want you to never make excuses for your sexuality. Anybody who isn't mature or adult enough to accept you as you are don't deserve you, JJ.
okay.
Baby. And you told us earlier that you've dated older. What is your age range for dating?
Um, so I'm 34 now. 45 is young. 45 is young. 45 is even 50. 50 is young, you
I agree.
know?
Mhm.
And, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't got those little daddy issues, other hand, but, um,
Finding older men attractive is not
I think,
always a daddy issue.
yeah, right. But
Older people can be attractive. I
they
I,
are. I want
I,
to have sex with a 78-year-old man.
I think it's more healthy to be attracted to people who are older than for this whole society being obsessed with youth and thinking just because somebody turns 18 that they're viable for intimacy. No.
That's the truth.
50 years old is young.
I had a young 78-year-old. I'm talking about he had abs and everything, some
Now,
Caribbean guy. He was
78,
hanging. He was a
I,
granddaddy, like, but it was everything.
I ain't say 78 was young, friend. See, you getting close to octogenarian. But
Listen, I would have rode him straight to the bank.
I respect it. How do you feel about kids in marriage?
Um, to be honest, I've X'd out kids for me, because of my age and, circumstances and demographics. I'm somewhat of a realist. Um, but I'll never take away hope. That's one thing that I love about myself is I'll always be hopeful.
I dig it. I dig it. Do you have any requirement income? Do you have any income requirements or preferences?
No, just have a job. And I say that because like even me, like I'm not a rich bitch, I'm not making six figures or all of the things like that. But like if you can just like if I'm able to maintain myself, you have to be able to maintain yourself too. And then when that comes together, we can maintain each other. So I'm never going to sit here and say, oh, you need to be making this amount of money. Who the fuck am I? Um, just have a job.
I dig it. Night in or night out?
Uh Both. It depends. Like I'm very adventurous. I'm very spontaneous, but I'm also like getting older, and I think the pandemic has the world is crazy out here now. People shooting people, monkeypox, COVID. You go to the mall, they shooting up the mall. So I like to be inside a little bit more these days. Okay. So if it's not work, most likely, if it's not a friend's birthday, if it's not an event, I'm home.
I dig it. Do you know your love languages? And if so, what are they?
I suck a mean dick. And I like to touch. My mouth ain't this big for no reason now. My love language is touch. I love to pamper.
I dig it. I dig it. Acts of service.
Yes, yes, definitely. I can be very domestic. I
Are
like
you
a clean place to begin with anyway. I don't. Mm-mm.
Are you willing to relocate for love, or do they have to be in New York?
I'm willing to relocate.
Okay. What would make you a great partner for a happy, healthy, healing man?
I think my will to survive, my will to be great. Um, I've literally just told you bits and pieces of my life, and then I sit back and I'm like, I'm 34 years old. I'm not in jail. I'm not dead. I'm not on drugs. Marijuana ain't a drug no more. And I'm, regardless of my ups and downs, I'm doing really good. And I'm one of the lucky ones, right? Because there weren't many like that. So what I would bring to a relationship is love, family, all of those things that I wanted as a kid. Um, Being in a relationship would so much fulfill that, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I,
No,
I I wouldn't look at my partner as just my partner or my husband. That'll be like my family.
I
Um, having someone to be able to, make decisions for you if you get sick or know what you need before you even have to say it.
I take it. I and I agree with you, and I want to give you your flowers, friend. I've worked with a lot of people who have grown up under circumstances that were beneath them. I'll say that. I feel that some of the things that you told us about your journey, baby, you are clearly resilient. You are clearly determined. And I'm just proud and happy to see that some of those kids that I work with, I'm happy to see how they could possibly turn out.
Yeah. I
And
always say, thank God
I,
I was gay because I wasn't into the thug stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, thank God for that. I only cut school to play handball.
tell people how to get in touch with you, JJ.
You can follow me here on Instagram at your gay best friend times 10, or you can follow me on TikTok. You'll see a lot more of my personality on TikTok. Um, I stand up for the unstandable, okay? I dance. I give Big Brother commentary. Um, I review my friend's small business. Hello, Kenya. Y'all better go check out Better Body Lux, okay? Um, y'all better check out Kay's Cauldron. I think I seen her in the building earlier too. Yeah, like that's what I do. I like to uplift others with my platform and I like to inspire and I like to be as real as it gets because I've been on the other side of social media when you're watching people's posts and you're seeing they're living their best life and it's all a facade, baby. And you're sitting here beating yourself up, wondering what the hell is going on with me? What's wrong with me? Hey, Gigi, what's wrong with me? And there don't be nothing wrong with you the whole time, okay?
No,
Them
it never,
people just lying.
it
I don't
never.
use filters.
As a content creator, I can promise y'all that even my life, people perceive it as better than it really is. And don't get me wrong, I don't have a horrible life, but I'm definitely far from rich. Or
A bitch is living in the shelter right now. Let's keep it real. Like,
not even
I just had to jazz it up real nice, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, we working homeless, but I'm not embarrassed. Okay,
yeah.
so
I want
yeah,
to
I keep it real. Seek connection, not validation.
I want to spell your name out, friend, for the YouTube edit. So to get friend on here, you're gonna type in URGAYBESTFRANNX 10. Your best friend times 10.
Your gay best friend times
Your
10.
gay best friend times 10. Honey. Thank you, JJ, for
Oh,
coming.
and you can also follow me on YouTube. Hello. You're a gay
What,
best friend.
what's your YouTube?
You're a gay best friend.
Your gay best friend. Thank you, JJ. I'll talk to you later, love.
Thank you for having me on, darling. It was a pleasure.
You know I love you.
I love you too, baby.
Yeah, shout out to JJ. I seen I seen your message. I got a DM. Um my response to that is maybe. Monroe, don't be blowing up the tea in the chat. Nobody asked you to blow up that tea. You just try and make sure that nobody else hops on my friend. Monroe, don't act like that. Really. Let JJ get his life. You all the way in the third world country. Hey, Trent. Shout out to everybody in here. Shout out to Trent, Vin, Noah, Monroe. And shout out to my next guest. Shout out to Sean. And shout out to my next guest that I'm about to bring up. Where you at, sissy? Hey, love. Give the people your name.
Hola.
Give the people your name and your pronouns.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so my name is Anastasia Esparza, and I go by she, hers, herses, and that's only hers.
Only hers.
Only hers.
Okay, and yeah, I got you. And how old are you, and where are you calling us from?
Okay, well, I just turned 38 2 weeks ago, so I'm getting close to 40, which I feel 40, but I'm 38, and I am a Virgo. So I mean, you know how Virgos are. Virgos are very sweet, loving, caring.
They get mad at us because they say that we're super critical, and they get mad at us being perfectionists.
Oh yeah, most
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. And what is your sexual orientation, love?
I am straight.
Okay, so how do you identify with the LGBTQ, if at all?
So I am trans. I am a trans woman. So I was assigned birth as male at first, and then I transitioned to female, which I feel like I've been a female since. I mean, since I was little, I never thought I was a male, I guess you could say. And so I guess within getting older, it just kind of helped, because everything started putting in perspective. Um, so it just worked out.
I dig it. I can definitely relate to that. I know for me personally, um, growing up, I didn't realize that there was a huge separation between girl and boy. But
Hmm.
once I did, I felt like I fit on the girl side way more than the boy side.
Exactly. Yeah. I remember when I was younger, it was like elementary, I think, and a lot of my girlfriends that I still talk to till this day, um, I would get so upset with the teacher because I would have to go to the restroom and stuff. And I would go to the girls' restroom and they'd be like, no, 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 wrong restroom. And I would cry because I didn't understand, like, why are you stopping me from going to the right restroom?
Yeah.
And as I got older, and then puberty hit and things like that, I was like, ooh, like something's really wrong. You know what I mean? And,
Hmm.
and I lived in a very, 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 very small, like little town. Like, I mean, it was so conservative that, being gay, lesbian, whatever, it was like the most horrid thing you could imagine. Um, and for me, it was hard, but I kind of like overcame that. I had my good friend, which is, she passed away in August of 2019. She committed suicide.
Hmm.
And me and her moved together out of town so we can live our life and branch out and, get ourselves together, I guess you could say. Um, but we've been best friends since like elementary school, and then we moved together, over there, and things like that. And so when she kind of passed, it kind of took a toll on me. you know, because like I expected her to do something crazy, but not this crazy. And so when she did it, it was like I was shattered. I was like everywhere. I felt like I was like a zombie, I guess you could say, for a little bit.
Were
So
you aware that she was suicidal?
I did. We had moved an hour away from our hometown, and I think I have been in love in my town that I moved to about a month, I think. And I kept calling her phone, and she wouldn't answer. And she always responds to me, and she finally answered, and she was just like, "Hey, I'm at the hospital." I'm like, What do you mean?" And she's like, "Well, this and that." And I was like, okay, well, I'm on my way. And I took off right away. So when I got there, the nurse was like, oh, well, she took a bunch of pain pills and she was knocked out in the restroom. And luckily her brother happened to visit and he knocked the door down and got her in time, you know? So I kind of already knew she was suicidal, you know, but it was like she kept telling me, "I promise I'm not gonna do this to you. I promise you I'm not, I'm not gonna leave you here by yourself. I promise you," but and that day I happened to get off of work and I kept calling her and she wouldn't answer, and then her nieces called me and they were just like, "We're on our way to Lubbock and we're gonna go da 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 da," and I'm like, "Well, what's going on? And what's really going on?" And they're just like, they just said my aunt just and when she just told me, I just broke because I was like, wait a minute, what do you mean? Like I just literally talked to her, you know? And from then it was just like rock bottom. It was just like I had to get myself back up. I had to get myself more stable, um, mentally, physically. You know, at that time I had just started a new job at a pharmacy, and so I literally had a mental breakdown, and I lost that job. And
Mm.
so, you know, when I say, oh, I had to come from the bottom up, go all the way up to where I'm at today. You know, um,
So how have you been doing in these past 3 years?
um, I have my good and I have my bad. Sometimes my bad sometimes outweighs the good at times, but sometimes I have to just think and be like, okay, like, and I know she's here spiritually with me, and I can tell her like, hey, girl, like, you see what I'm going through, you know what I mean? Like, give me some kind of a sign or give me some kind of whatever, and then sure enough, within a few hours or the next day or so, like, it just hits me, and then I'm just like, oh, okay, I got you, girl, like I got you, you know.
Hmm.
And like for an example, today, you know, I was coming back home to bring my mom back home to our hometown, and she had given me this real beautiful, like iridescent rosary that she went and got in South Texas. And I kept telling her, like, give me a sign to let me know when you're with me, or at least when I'm traveling, you know? And
Hmm.
that little sparkle so bright. And I was telling my mom on the way over here, I was like, look, mom. And she's like, do you see how shiny and bright it's shining? She's like, yeah. I was like, I know she's here. Like, I know she's watching me. So I'm just grateful that, you know, I get those kind of signs and things like that. So,
Yeah, I'm glad that you're spiritual enough to recognize those things
oh,
when they
yeah,
because our sisters never really leave us.
yeah, most definitely.
Now,
Especially, like, I live
I'm
in,
I'm sure they are probably part of us talking right now.
yeah, that's what I was telling my mom earlier too. And I was like, sometimes I have my good days, sometimes I have my bad days. You can tell when I'm having my bad day because I feel like I'm here present, but I'm not here present, you know?
I get it. I get it. And I'm not going to lie to you and say that it'll ever be easy, but I can promise you that it does get easier.
Oh, yeah. Most
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. And I'm just very grateful because I feel like it's weird, like when I feel down and I come back to my hometown, sometimes that little sign can be like me running into her children, you know, them coming up to me to hug me, and like talk to me for a little bit as much as they can because their biological dad doesn't really like them to be talking to me, you know.
Hmm.
Told them, you know, when you get older, like I would tell you exactly what happened. You know, I don't want to tell you now because you're so young, and I want you to focus in school and do good in school. You know, um, but when I get to see them and stuff, like kind of reconnects me, and it's like, okay, like you're gonna be okay. You know, so I'm just grateful that I still have them. You know, if I can see them once in a blue moon.
That's beautiful. Um, and maybe one day we will be able to continue that conversation. But
Mhm.
right now, I want to focus on you. I feel like our sisters want you to get your shine right now. I get the impression that you're one of us who tends to put yourself on the back burner.
I am.
So the sisters are really in my ear right now.
Yeah, I am. I am the one to be the one like helping others before I put myself. Does that make
So let's make this about you. We gonna hop back on it. Why are you single?
The reason I'm single, well, one, I live in Texas, so Texas is kind of like taboo still a little bit,
Uh-huh.
But majority of the time, I think the reason I'm single is because I'm very focused. Like I'm focused in my job, I'm focused on my mom, like I focus like just things I need to be not in control, but more organized with.
Virgo.
But I tend to do that a lot. But a lot of my friends are always like, you need to do for you first. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay. And I'm like, okay.
Yes, sis. I'm going to reiterate that this whole conversation.
Yeah.
You deserve it, Anastasia. And how long have you been single?
This is gonna be my third year being single.
Okay. Um, how long has been your longest relationship thus far?
My longest relationship.
Yeah.
You ready for this one?
Yeah.
My longest relationship I was in was for 13 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm glad you shared that because I wouldn't have expected that. How it is in this community. Unfortunately, we're either going to be together forever.
Exactly. That's what I said. That's what I thought, at least. I,
Hmm.
I had been with my ex, whatever. I had been with him for so long. Like we were best friends first. And then little by little, it just happened. Like it was like clockwork. It just like hit so hard. And I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? Like, wait a minute. Like when did this happen?
How,
Um,
I'm curious.
I'm sorry.
How did you meet your ex?
So it was my best friend's brother. And his sister went to school with me. She was like a year or two younger than me. And me and her, I knew his sister so well, and she got into a car accident, of course, and she is no longer with us. And so then when he got out, well, moved back over here to my hometown, my best friend was like, well, his name is Michael. So she would be like, well, Michael keeps asking for you. And when are you going to come over here? And blah, 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 blah. And I happened to live like a half a block from my best friend's house at the time. So like I would get off of work and he would like come over here and come talk to my mom, and my mom would make him food, or he would wait for me to change clothes, and I
He,
was just like,
he knew a good woman when he seen one, honey. He was
I was,
the option, Anastasia.
girl, let me tell you, it was so funny. It was like clockwork, and I think that's why right now being single so hard for me, because I base everybody upon him.
Mm,
I fall in love with my best friend like I did before. And so now it's like guys are telling me like, well, you need to like think outside the box. And I'm just like, I
well,
don't think.
I'm going to give you some sisterly advice because men, you can never trust them. They'll say anything to get in. I'm going to give you some sisterly advice. Um, there's not going to be another Michael.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's not. And you have had the experience of falling in love with your best friend. And I'm sure your next love will be your best friend.
Oh
But
yeah.
it might not look the same. It might not look the same. Don't judge them people under Mike's standards.
Oh, let me tell you. And now that he's moved on and he's planning on moving, like, getting married to this girl, whatever. My best friend keeps telling me like he keeps asking for you, and he wants your phone number, and I'm just like, you better not.
So why'd y'all break up? What happened?
Well, I met him before transition,
Uh,
and my biggest fear was if I transitioned to the person I am today, my biggest fear was that he was going to leave me because I became female. And then it turned around on me to where he left me for an actual girl. And
Virgo
I,
do it to ourselves every time, don't we, Virgo? We
yeah,
ourselves out of some shit that the universe has planned for us.
yes, most definitely. So sometimes I was just like thinking to myself, like, oh, I screwed up. Like, what the hell? Like, was I not thinking straight, or well, what could I have done better? But
I also I also understand that you took that time to transition. It was definitely necessary for you to take that time to transition without that burden being over your head. Because
yeah.
at the end of the day, with transitioning, we always have to decide if we're doing it for ourselves or if we're
Mhm.
doing it to please other people.
Yeah, and it was funny because like before, because I used to be a performer as well, because some trans girls start in drag performing, and that's how I started first, to figure out like who I was. I would cry because I would, like, my friends would be like taking like dragging their off, like taking off their bras and stuff, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's going? And I was like, I'm not taking my stuff off. Like, I go crazy, you know. And then I just started adding the puzzle. Like, it was just a puzzle for me, I'm still a performer still to this day. I just don't perform as often that I want to anymore because my job is busy.
What do you do for work? What do you do for a living?
So I'm a senior pharmacy tech for a hospital. So I'm going to be going on my 2 years working at the hospital. So hopefully, I plan to retire there. So
Work says that's a good position. That's a good position.
let me tell you, I worked so hard for it. I worked very hard, and so now it's like, I have the pharmacists and they're like, hey, Anastasia, do you think this should work? Or do you think we should do this? And, like, now they're more comfortable because they're like, oh, I can trust her because
You're
she knows,
right.
you know. But let me tell you, girl, when I first started, it was hard because it was like,
How so? Did they know you were trans?
you know what? They don't know. They don't know.
My personal advice, unless I'm working as a trans liaison, unless I'm working specifically as a trans identity,
Mm-hmm.
I don't discuss my transness in professional spaces.
Yeah, I don't either. I just feel like I don't need to, what's the word? I don't need to show off, if that makes any sense. Like, I mean, I have some trans brothers and sisters that I love, and I love them to death, but sometimes they're just like overdoing it. Like the t-shirt and like the Crocs and the trans, like, no, 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 no. You don't need to.
I'm a little bit of both. I'm that person off the clock. I did at one point in my life live stealth,
Mhm.
where I didn't discuss my transness unless I was sleeping with you or unless you were really close to me.
Got-
I've gotten to a point now where obviously online talking about being trans, I'm only so inconspicuous, I guess you could say, or incognito.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I'm a little bit of both. I'm that girl who in my free time I'm waving that flag, but when it comes to my coin, when it comes to my money, we're
yeah,
talking about it.
exactly. Yeah. I'm the same way too, and because I work at a hospital and things like that, there's a lot of no, not a lot of trans girls, but there's like a few.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a few gay guys, of course, and lesbians and things like that. And so when I'm talking to them, they look at me kind of strange, like kind of weird.
Probably wait for you to out yourself.
Yeah, and they look at me like, some were like, I didn't even know you were trans. And I'm like, what do you mean you didn't know? They're like, I can't tell. And I'm like, can't tell what? And they're like, well, sometimes you can tell. And I'm like, okay. And so what's going on again? And they're like, well, I'm just, and then they change the subject themselves. They don't even bring it up anymore.
I make them uncomfortable, sis. I like that. I like that. I like that tactic. I like
Yeah.
make them uncomfortable. I honestly do the same thing. I was telling a story before where one of my clients was asking me about my transness, and I was like, "Girl, I know you ain't asking me about people's medical information.
Yeah.
You asking me about my medical information?
hmm I'm telling you, they
Oh
are.
Lord!" And really acting like I was being extra, but
Well, let me tell you, girl, and you're gonna die laughing when I tell you this. So, my doctor, she's a trans doctor here in Texas. And I went up for a checkup, whatever, just normal, like, because I had caught a cold or whatever, and went to see if I could get a shot, whatever. And so, me and her were talking, whatever, and she had an intern doctor there, and I was laughing because the intern doctor looked so nervous, and so I was like, well, that's weird. And so I was telling him, like, oh, I feel like this. Like, I've been nauseous. I've been fatigued. I feel like this, and just trying to explain to him what's going on. And he's like, well, maybe I should get the nurse to get you a pregnancy test. And I was like, no, no, I don't need that. And he's like, what do you mean? He said, you don't think you're pregnant? And I'm like, no, it's not possible. No. He's like, well, you don't want, you can't have children. I was like, I think you need to read my chart before you start coming for me that way. Because I mean, thank you, but no. And so my doctor was dying. I mean, she was like, she almost peed herself, and I was just like looking at her like, oh my gosh. I
Yeah.
said, get him. I said, get him out of the room, please.
Yeah, it is astounding how many times, and this is just proof that there are so many doctors and so many ERs and so
Hmm.
many residencies, whatever. But there are so many doctors who don't read your chart before they come in the room.
Yeah, they never do, ever, ever. And and I always tell my nurse friends, like, hey, I need to read the chart first. When you started your shift, they're like looking at me kind of weird. I said, because I know y'all don't read them. I said, so I need to
I'm
get first.
I'm explicit. When they don't read my chart, I'll be like, clearly you didn't see where it said male to female, honey. I got a dick. Ain't no sliding up out of there.
Yeah, I do the same thing too. Sometimes whenever we go out with my friends and stuff like that, like sometimes their friends can be like rude or whatever when they see somebody that's not, I guess they're more clockable, I guess you could say. I know something wrong, and I'll just look at them and I'll laugh. And they're like, what's so funny? And I said, well, if you think about it, and they're like, what? I said, I do have a penis and a breast. And they're like, and I'm like, close your mouth, close your mouth. And they're like, shocked, done.
I've had to do that as well. Being a girl who's seen as more passable, I've had to do that as well. I have people close to me who will say something about trans people who may be less passable or somebody who they may have clocked, and it's like, girl, at the end of the day, honey, everything that you're saying about them applies to me as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like I told you, like I am not the one to be like, oh, I have a trans necklace or I have like a trans T-shirt or my nails are trans. I don't advertise it. If I gotta do something that's for pride, then that's when I'll show a little bit, but not like overdo it like every day.
Okay, let's get to the specifics of what you want because we already know why you're single. We know how long you've been single. Um, you decided to break up your 13-year relationship to focus on your transition. You had some insecurities
Mhm.
regarding that 13-year relationship. Your biggest strength, I perceive, is your weakness. Um, you care. You're empathetic. You dedicate your lives to be nurturing to other people. And that can be a weakness when we don't put ourselves first. Um, so tell me, what would your ideal partner look like?
Um, I don't think I have an ideal partner. I feel like, how can I say? I think because I pray about it a lot and I just tell God, you know what, send me somebody that's going to take care of me. Somebody that's going to be like opposite of me, but more like grounding me more, like being more like myself, like making sure that I do stuff for myself first, and then do stuff for them, instead of just doing stuff for them first and putting them first to put myself first.
You do need that. You do need that. With you being somebody who's so giving, you need somebody who's going to prioritize you.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Deal breakers.
A deal breaker for me, I guess because like I've gone from the bottom up, that I feel like I need somebody that's going to try to be successful. Like I don't care like if they work at fast food. Like I don't care. Like that doesn't bother me as long as they're successful in it and there's like a branch they can move up, But for me, it's like as long as they work, I really don't care, you
So
know?
somebody so
Yeah.
financial growth, somebody who's pursuing their own betterment. I
Yeah.
did that. Do you have any we know that you're strictly into men, but do you have any appearance preferences for a guy?
Um. Well, that's funny that you said that because all my coworkers and a bunch of my friends they say I have a specific type or whatever. Like they gotta have like some kind of like thin facial hair or like a goatee kind of look, whatever. Like I don't know what it is, but it seems like every guy that I've talked to, they're just like, do you know that person looks like so and so, and that person, and they're like, stop, like don't say that to me because then I'll stop talking to them. But I mean,
You have sis, if you have a type that you tend to gravitate toward, if you have a physical preference and it's been working for you, which sounds like it has, um,
hmm
accepts it.
Oh
Right.
yeah. And I would laugh too because I told my coworker, he's like, "You just," he said, "You have a type," and he tells me every day that I work with him, and I'm like, "Stop! Like, what are you talking about?"
So what is type? What is this type? Uh,
Um, my friend Ross, my friend or myself.
yourself, the type that they say that you have. What is the
Well, because it's weird because like I don't know what it is. It's just like the facial hair, like not so big. It's like gonna be super trimmed, and like just I don't know. It's just, they all look alike for some odd reason.
are they a are they cholo?
No, no.
Um, is there a specific race preference or complexion preference?
Not really. I really don't look like color specific, I guess. I just like someone that I can connect to. Um, like for an example, like the gentleman that I'm talking to right now, whatever, he's a registered nurse. He's a charge nurse actually. And like he has like slight facial hair. And the guy that works with me in the pharmacy, he almost looks identical to him, but he's Mexican and this one's white. And I'm just like, what am I gonna do? But it's like I'm more drawn into somebody that's gonna give me the attention. So I'm the one that like the call, the text, the going downstairs to go see me, like, things like that. That's what grabs my attention.
So do these guys tend to be around the same height?
Yes. Mhm.
About how tall is that?
Well, I'm 5'7", so they're a little bit about 6 foot, maybe a little bit less, but a little bit taller than me.
Okay, okay, all
And,
right. Is there
and
is there a particular body type that these guys tend to have?
they've got muscles. They're
Okay,
they're
okay.
not they're thick, but they're not like overly thick.
I got you. I got you. We got you, sis. We see you, and
Yeah.
and serve whatever type of man works for you.
Oh
Really, if the physical chemistry is a part of it.
yeah. Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Especially the guy that works with me in the pharmacy, whatever. Like he's so funny because he'll just like say my name real loud, and I'm just like stop, like this to him, and he'll just look at me like this, like, and I'm like, no, you come here, no, you come here, and then he'll go where I'm at, my desk, and he'll stand there for a good 20 minutes talking to me, and then I'm like, I didn't tell you you could leave, and he's like,
Ah!
he'll just like walk away, like mumbling something, and then I'll call him by his
I'm
name.
like, you done already found your man.
Girl, I hope I'm trying to, but I'm not trying to. If that makes any sense.
Would you consider yourself more dominant or submissive in relationships?
I, I'm probably more dominant because I'm more of structure. Like we're gonna do this, then we're gonna do this, then we're gonna do that. But it's just because
Yeah,
I'm a Virgo too, so
we
I'm very.
like, oh,
Hmm.
is physical intimacy important to you?
No.
It's not. Um,
Mm-mm.
are you monogamous or open to other things?
I'm open. I,
Okay.
and the only reason I say that now is because before I was just like, oh, I'm a girl, so I need to just look at a guy and a guy and a guy, and it was like more focused. Just I had to be with a man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like these last couple of years, whatever, within transitioning, whatever, like I met some trans men too, and I'm just like, ooh, like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
my focus goes to them, but it's more like I get a more connection with them too because they like understand what I'm going through physically, you know what I mean? So sometimes it's just like, oh, like I didn't know I would actually look at a trans man. Do you know what I mean?
I growing up, I I thought that I would end up strictly being into cis men. I've been in a relationship with one cisgender man, and after falling in love with a transgender man,
Hmm.
I I I don't see myself going back. I ain't gonna never say never, but I don't see it.
Well, let me tell you, I'm the same way too. I remember going to an event one time and I met some trans guy there, and I honestly I didn't tell.
Different. If connection is important to you, the connection is different.
Yeah, and I couldn't tell either. And so we just started talking and goofing around and dancing and like, walking around. And then like before the night ended, he was just like, oh, my name was so and so. And I said, oh, it's nice to meet you, whatever. And he was just like, well, I'm a trans man. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's fine. He was like, you okay with that? And I said, yeah. Like, he's like, and we just started talking little by little. And then I was just like, well, I'm a trans woman. He's like, this, shut the door. And I'm like, I'm for real. Like, I'm being honest with you.
I a lot of the trans people I know, it's once they dated another trans person and it worked, they it's usually their preference.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's called T for T.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. And I'm the same way too. My mom's always raised me to be like, once you fall in love with somebody, you just fall in love with them. There's no rule book. There's no, it's got to be this way and that way, you know?
Hmm. Hmm. Um, what do you think about kids and marriage?
I don't think about marriage much. I don't think I want to get married. I really don't want to get married. But if it happens, I guess it just happens, I guess. But I always told my mom that once I get married, if I do get married, that I was gonna do like something big, like grand, you know what I mean? Because I told her I want her to have this perfect dress for her, and then I'm gonna have the perfect gown. And I was like, and I want to spend money like crazy. And she's like, you don't need all that. And I'm like, but mom, you don't understand, like, you know. But yeah, I don't see it happening. But if it does happen, it just happens, I guess, you know.
That's a
Um, Kids, yes, most definitely. I want children. I'm just very fortunate that I have my trans doctor that does all my stuff for me. And so I have, I think, maybe 2 years left, I think, and then to decide if I'm gonna have a child this coming year or next year. Um, I have been talking to my good friend that I worked with back in the day, and she's like hit me with like, you know how when somebody just slaps you in the face, you didn't realize something, you know? And she was just like, you know, you can have a kid and you'll be just fine. Like, you don't have to have somebody to raise a kid with you. And I was like I didn't think of it that way, you know? And so she gave me that like that reassurance and that push of like,
yeah.
you have a kid, you can do it by yourself. You don't have to have somebody. And I'm like, huh, like, you know, I never thought of it that way. So
And it sounds like you still have family as well.
I do. I don't have any brothers, sisters. I'm an only child.
Mm.
It's just me, myself, and then I have my mom, of course, which I'm here at her house, you know. I have my mom, and I look just like my mom. And so I was truly blessed on that one. So I'm going to knock on wood. So,
Shout out to mom. Shout out to Mom Dukes. Night in or night out?
mm, both.
Okay. Okay.
'Cause I go dancing.
You like to dance? You
I
said
like to, like, let's go to the country bar, or let's go to a Tejano bar, or let's go, like, I'm the one that's like, oh, let's go. I'll be ready in 10 minutes. Let's go. Like, you know what I mean?
okay. Okay. And no shade. I told sis that we were still on to go live, and she was like, "Girl, I'll be there in 10 minutes."
Yeah, I was like, I'm ready in 10 minutes. I'll be ready in a heartbeat. I just got to touch my face up and I'm ready to go, you know?
Work. I ain't mad. Do you know your love languages?
Um, well, lately, yeah, I have. Years ago, I didn't know, but I'm more about like touch and more like
Mm.
feeling, you know? I'm the one that like, I like to make sure that if somebody's going to be with me, whatever, they're going to be next to me. Or like if I feel like an anxiety attack's gonna happen or a panic attack's gonna happen or I feel insecure somewhere, at least I know I can reach back and I can touch. You know what I mean? And I'll be okay, you know? But that's what I discovered like within a year or so. So
So you deal with anxiety.
yes, I do. I do have anxiety and I do have panic attacks at some time points. Um and as well as like I have a lot of since all that happened with my best friend and things like that, my mental state was like kind of off, I guess you could say.
Hmm.
When you know how the normal, I guess you could say what doctors say is like the normal when you go to sleep at night, you know, your mind kind of turns off when you're asleep, you know. And for me, it doesn't. It's just going and it's go and so I don't really sleep at night. So sometimes I have to like take a sleeping pill or you know do something to make sure that my mind just goes at ease.
Hmm. Hmm. Yes, as those anxiety issues are common for Virgos.
Oh yeah, and I
Uh,
get it very badly. And it's funny because like some of my good friends that live in Lubbock with me, they'll know. Like they'll know when I'm gonna hit a panic attack or an anxiety attack. And even my coworker know. Like he'll be like, do you have your meds with you? And I'm like, what meds? And they're like, you know your anxiety pill? And I was like, yeah, it's in my bag all the time. and I don't take it. I take it with me everywhere. I'm like, why? They're like, I think you're gonna have a panic attack, and I'm like, how do you know? And that because you keep fidgeting and you're biting your lip and you're fidgeting real bad. I'm like, okay, well then I'll pop one in, and then after a while I'm just like, dang, good eye. But sometimes I don't even catch it myself. So
Well, I don't know how much your anxiety affects your life, but if it's any consolation, I can share with you that I am somebody who at one point was severely medicated just to be able to sleep a few nights a week, right?
mhm.
And now I'm at a point where I only need medication in cases of emergencies. And my emergency medication, I can't remember the last panic attack I've had, basically.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that'll give you hope, but it's just come over time with my journey. I assumed that I would need to be medicated for my anxiety for the rest of my life, and now the only medicine that I use is medicinal cannabis.
Yeah, well, see, now that you said that, that's kind of funny because at first I was relying on medication to like, to calm me down, and I would go somewhere and I'll be like, I would panic and I'll be like, no, 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 like get me out of here, like hurry up, let's go, like
Hmm.
uh, and then it came to a point to where um another trans girl that I know that's on the opposite town of me. I live in Lubbock, and so she lives in Odessa. So that's like another 3 hours from me. And so me and her start talking a little bit, and she was just like, "Well, if you smoke a little bit of weed, it'll calm you down. Like it helps you more than." To weed you off the meds. And I was like, girl, you tripping. Like, I'm not gonna smoke weed. You crazy. And then once I started meeting other trans girls, and they were like, "Oh yeah, like I smoke a half or whatever, and blah blah blah," like just to like ease the pain. It helps me for a few days, and I was like, "Okay." Tried it a few times, and I was like, "Oh, this kind of helps. Like this really does help."
Yeah, that's
And
why sometimes you'll see me smoking on the show because even doing this show, even still now, I get anxiety sometimes.
um, almost every, and then the worst anxiety I get the most, and it's gonna sound so funny, is that whenever I post stuff on my TikTok or something, you know what I mean? Like I start have that panic attack, like of like, are people gonna like this? Are they gonna like it? Are they gonna like whatever? You know what I mean? Are they gonna share it? Or they're not gonna, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, okay, just relax. You got this. Just post it. Just don't be scared. Don't look back. Post it. And so lately, that's what I've been doing. I just been posting it and just not even thinking about it.
Do
Just post.
that. Continue posting it. Continue posting it, and then over time, just look back and see what the people respond to more.
Oh
And
yeah.
you can cater if you want. You can cater your content around your audience if you want. For
Oh,
me, I still go against my audience sometimes just because I'm determined to show every side of who I am.
oh yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm too. Like, I mean, it's so funny that you said that because, like, sometimes people would be like, well, not people, but like guys would be like, you got to be playing me, right? And I'm just like, what are you talking about? And they're like, you don't look that perfect. You don't look perfect every day like that. Like, you don't look like your photos. And I'm like, but
Uh,
I like my photos.
it,
Like,
it's crazy because um, they have this. It's crazy because I think a lot of people who are attracted to us, even people who are attracted to us, they still expect us to, like, for them to blink and us to just look like a man to them.
hmm
Sudden, I think for a lot of people, they see us as costume wearers.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's like,
It's
you know,
like another,
to be honest, that's one of the reasons why I make so much of my content with no makeup and no
yeah.
hair. Just to remind people that, like cis women, we don't need this to be women.
Yeah. And see, that's a perfect example because I remember, what was it, a few days ago? I made a video and I was like thinking like, should I post it? Should I not post it? Because I was like, no makeup, no lashes, no eyebrows. And I was like glasses because I wear contacts.
Me
So I
too.
had glasses on and I thought, oh my gosh, should I post this? And I felt so insecure, the other day. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to post it. And then I posted and a lot of people were like, you don't look any different. You just think you look different. It's just not. And I'm like, okay. And I said, but I feel like putting makeup on is a comfort for me. You know what I mean? And so a lot of people are like, "You don't need no makeup," and I'm like, "I know, but it's just comfortable. It's like a barrier for me. You know what I mean?"
I get.
And little by little, I've been like, not. I've been posting more without any makeup lately. So that I can like be more comfortable, and I can be like, okay, well, I can be barefaced. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Plus, I've gotten the impression that the culture in Texas is more like that. It's more like
Oh yeah,
women wake up and put their makeup on. Wash your face, brush your teeth, put on your makeup. You know.
yeah.
So I get that. Are you willing to relocate for love, or does the person have to live in Texas?
I think I could relocate. But of course, I tell my partner like, hey, understand, like my mom is my priority. Like, my mom comes first, and then I'm gonna tell them as well, like your parents come first too. I don't have a good relationship with my dad, so I really don't just like say, oh, well, both parents. It's more like, and my mom needs me to understand we gotta go. You know what I mean? And I would do the same thing for their parents. But yeah, I mean, I think relocating would be great because, of course, I can always get transfer. You know what I mean? The hospital I work for, I can transfer anywhere right now because they have so many places I can go to, other hospitals. So yeah, I mean, it'll be cool, and I can get my mom out of Texas for a little bit.
I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that. And Mama might not be mad either.
I tell you, girl. Let me tell you, my mom. Sometimes I look at her and I said, "Mom, this was gonna happen," and I said, "We're not gonna argue. And we're gonna have a common ground when you come visit. But my house is my house. Like, leave my house the way it is.
Oh, baby, they gonna try you.
Oh yeah, and she did. She arranged my whole house this week, so I'm like, oh man.
What would I've already picked up on this, but what do you think would make you a great partner for your ideal guy?
For my ideal guy, um, probably more communication, understanding. I got to put myself in like their shoes and understand what they're going through as well. I just feel like, oh, you got to do this because of, like, I got to like put some walls down, and make sure I have a good communication with them as well. But like I said, like I'm very, very like family oriented, I guess. So it's more about family more.
You could bring that. I get the impression that you could bring family to a guy. You could bring family to your partner. That sense of family.
Most definitely. And I don't have a big family. Like my family's like very, very like small. Like I mean, when I tell you small, it's like this small. My mom only had me, and my uncle only had his son, and so we're both like only children. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I was just fortunate that my cousin ended up having three children when he got married, and so I was just telling him, you need to break the barrier. Like you need to like make big family. And he just looks at me like, no. And then when he did it, I was like, see, I told you. And so you broke our curse. But I'm just very fortunate. Of course, my oldest saw me before transition. So sometimes he kind of looks at me kind of strange, like, you look like this and now you look like this, you know what I mean? And the girls, well, they see me like this. So of course, they're just like, oh, I'm gonna go with her, I'm gonna go with her. Like, and for him, it's just like still kind of confusing a little bit.
Hmm.
But hopefully he'll like transition through and just be like and forget about the old me. And so it's always good. So
I dig it. Tell the people how to get in touch with you, Anastasia.
sure. And so on Facebook, I am under Anastasia Sparza, of course, and as well as Instagram. My I think it's my Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, my Twitter, and of course my name, stage name, whatever. It still goes under my stage name, which is Lucky Raven. Um, of course, like promotional things like that, you'll see Lucky Raven. Of course, I'm from Texas, so you can always look me up that way as well in social media, especially YouTube as well, and as well as my TikTok. So it's just all the same, and it's all in my bio, of course. So.
I'm going to spell your screen name out for the YouTube edit. And that is Anastasia Esparza,
Mhm.
Anastasia
Mhm.
underscore Esparza.
Yep, that is correct. Yeah.
All right, all right, all right. Thank you for coming on, Anastasia.
Thank you for inviting me. I loved it. So if you ever need something, just let me know. And just the
Ab-
message, you know.
Absolutely. I would love to have you back. Maybe even just for some trans talk. I think we have great chemistry.
Yeah, just let me know whatever. And if you know any other trans girls or in Texas that need kind of help and guidance or things like that, just let me know whatever. I don't mind. I've helped a lot of trans, legally, change their name, marker, things like that, because I know the struggle of trying to do it by myself, you know what I mean? So that kind of comes into a good advocate that I help my community here.
If you don't mind, I may cut that little part of the video and just make it a video itself. And
Okay. Yeah, just let me know whatever you need, girl. I got you.
all right, thank you, Anastasia. You have a good
You,
love.
bye-bye.
All right, y'all. We had another guest in the queue, but as y'all see me and Anastasia, honey, we got long-winded. Me and sis got up here and got talking, honey. I damn near forgot it was the single show. Lord forgive me. Sis going to definitely have to come back. So we going to do some talk because we got a lot to talk about, honey. Y'all know Virgos, honey. Y'all know how we get down. Honey. Thank y'all. Thank you, JJ. Thank you, Anastasia. Thank you, Monroe, for holding down the comments. Thank you, Knox, for moderating, welcoming everybody through, holding down the comments as well. And thank you for everybody who came in. I seen y'all. We should definitely do a trans health show. Thank you, Monroe. I'm throwing that out here in the live so that I'll remember it when I'm editing. But thank you again. Thank you again. Lovely show. I appreciate it, everybody. Peace, love, and blessings to you and yours. And thank you as always for supporting your girl. Y'all have a good evening. Or good morning, depending on where you at.